What's up everyone, Adam here from Cape Crawlers, and this is the Axial SCX24 Bronco build, part 9. Welcome back to the channel everybody, and welcome back to the Bronco build. The SCX24 Bronco build, episode 9. It's hard to believe how far this little thing has come, and I've truly enjoyed this build series, and I've really loved sharing it with you all. It's been great to interact with you all during the process. I hope you've enjoyed it too. I hope you've learned something. I hope I entertained you with my rampant enthusiasm during the process. But we're coming to an end here. So this isn't the final episode of the build series, but this is probably the last big set of modifications that we're going to do in the build. And it's going to be a doozy. In no way, shape, or form is the little Bronco going to ride off quietly into the sunset. We're going to go out with a bang here. And to do that, we've got a full suite of Furitek modifications that are going in this thing, in this episode. We've got the motor, transmission, new transmitter, the whole works. So I'm expecting some huge gains from a performance standpoint in terms of control, power, and overall usability. It's going to be a great episode. So let's take a closer look at the upgrades that we got in this episode, and then we'll get working on the install. Here we are, my friends. Let's see what we got for this episode. We have got the Furitek Komodo motor with stellar transmission combo here. So I opted to go with the bigger Komodo motor for this build for a couple different reasons. Mainly, I really just wanted to try something different. You know, I have the micro Komodo in the Gladiator. Oh my goodness, look at this thing. Holy cow. This thing is gorgeous. What a wonderful piece of machinery. Holy smokes. I love that this is one complete unit, just bolted in and go. It's just, wow. Great looking hardware here. Love it. So it's got the metal geared transmission, all assembled, billet housing. The thing is ready to go, ready to rock and roll. So I like to do the metal gears in the transmission and kind of work my way through the drivetrain, putting the brushless motor on, kind of eliminating weak points. So we still have stock drive shafts at this point, but what I'll probably do is replace those with metal, at least the U-joints with metal U-joints. So we've got the motor and transmission combo. Beautiful. We've got a Lizard Pro ESC, same ESC that I've been using in my other brushless conversions. I really like the Lizard Pro a lot. It works fantastic. We've also got a new transmitter. So I opted to go with the Furitek Avatar transmitter for this build, which I'm really excited about for a lot of reasons. This was not purely for the Bronco. I'm hoping to be able to use this for all of my kind of high performance builds. So I got this for sharing across the fleet, also because it comes with this tiny little micro receiver here. Now this is going to be critical, I think, for the build because this is so tiny. Look at this tiny little thing, unbelievable. So I'm hoping that I can retain my Grizzly Works low center of gravity chassis kit by incorporating the micro receiver here. If you remember from my other builds, the Gladiator in particular, I had to chop up and then ultimately eliminate the Grizzly Works setup, which I really like, and that really bummed me out. So I'm hoping that with this combo here, I can keep the LCG kit in the Bronco and still make all the electronics fit. So we've got the full gamut from Furitek here, and I'm really excited to try this out. So I'm not going to do baseline course runs this time around. If you've seen the other videos, you've seen what this thing can do. It can just shred the indoor course. So there's really not much that I think we're going to be able to improve upon. Instead, when I get this all installed, we're going to focus on testing out the slow crawl ability, and we're going to tackle some different challenge lines that the Bronco couldn't even fathom prior to this conversion. So I've got high expectations for this build after this install. So why don't we go ahead and start putting this thing together. I'll pop in and out as we're doing the install with valuable information or points of interest. and then we'll circle back when it's all said and done and we'll hit the course. So here we are working with the new setup. Got the old system out. Boy, it's so nice having just the transmission and everything as one unit, because it just yanked the old one out and dropped the new one in. Just kind of experimenting with my fitment here. I had hoped that I'd be able to maintain my Grizzly Works chassis setup, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, at least not with the front. It's so close, but just doesn't make it. So I've got to either trim this front section or put the factory one back on there. We'll see. But in any case, not going to be able to maintain the chassis kit as it sits, but largely it will be intact. We'll have the back section here, so I got to think about how I want to structure my electronics here. Since the receiver is so small, I'm thinking I may be able to just kind of stick it on one of the rock sliders here. It doesn't weigh anything, so I don't think it's not going to throw off the center of gravity or anything like that. I think, I might be able to put that receiver right there. Put the battery right here, and then probably the Lizard Pro right in the back here or something like that. Or I could put the Lizard on the other rock slider. That's probably what I'll do right there. So I think, that would kind of be like what the electronics would look like. Use some double-sided tape, stick these down, put the battery right here, and then it'll largely be intact. Won't be a lot of cutting and trimming, and be pretty clean looking. So I think that's my plan. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take this battery tray apart and see if I can either trim it or put the stock one back in and trim that. Either way, we're going to have to do some modifications to the front here to get this in. But I think this is where the electronics are going to sit, and I think that'll be a nice clean setup. So I'm going to get working on this and circle back to y'all in a minute. Here we are with our setup. So I got to say, this was a really pretty simple install. What I did was I took the stock kind of front ESC tray here and just notched it out. Took a big chunk right out of the tray here, and which is totally fine, because all I really wanted this front section for was the body posts and a place for the shocks to thread into on the frame. So we trimmed it up, sanded it down. It's not super pretty, but you're not going to see it anyway, and for the most part it works. And no rubbing, so we got good clearance. It does the job, so I'm pretty happy with that. Everything bolted up perfect. It's all sitting in there nicely, ready to go. So I think what I'm going to do now is just start assembling the electronics. We'll go with the plan of kind of sticking these onto each one of the rock sliders, and then we'll start to plug things in and then fire this thing up. I think we're getting pretty close. This is actually going really fast, which I'm relieved. So let's keep going. We'll finish strong and get this thing fired up shortly. So here is our setup. This is going so easy. Like, I'm really weirded out by how nice this is coming together. But check out the electronics, what I did here. I'm super happy with this setup. It is so clean, the way everything sits in here. This micro ESC, I'm so glad I got this thing. It just sits right there perfectly. Same thing with the Lizard. I love how it sits. I'm super happy with this. One thing, if you're going to do this combo, I got the Lizard Pro with Bluetooth. I didn't have to, because you actually take the Bluetooth module off and you hardwire the Lizard Pro into the micro receiver. So I've got an extra Bluetooth module lying around, but I figured that was fine in case I needed it for another rig or something. But if you do this kit, keep in mind that you can save yourself like $20 by getting just the Lizard Pro without the Bluetooth module. Anyway, it's all ready to go. Motor's plugged in. We are wired. Everything's bolted in. So the next step is to get this thing fired up. I've also got to fire up the Avatar transmitter, get this thing bound to the new ESC, the new receivers and everything. I'm getting really nervous. I'm getting excited now, and this is just like, this is so cool. This whole setup is so nice. It just looks so awesome in there. I'm pumped. So I'm going to fire this thing up, just do an initial test, make sure everything's got power, everything's good. And then I'm going to fire up the Avatar and get this thing bound, and then we'll take it for a spin. We are getting close. So exciting. All right, let's go. So this is it. Moment of truth. Let's plug it in. Blue lights on both ends, looking good. All right, so it says push this little bind button. I'm going to do this two-handed here. Okay, now turn avatar on. Okay, just got it bound. It's ready to go. It's pretty simple. Let's see. Oh boy, look at that. There it is. Haven't got the servo hooked up yet, but man, look at that. That's awesome. Nice. Very cool. So let me get the rest of this plugged in. We'll get the servo in, see what I can do with the lights and everything. And then I'll play around with the avatar a little more. I think I'm going to have to go in and update some firmware. And to that, I'll need my phone, which is what I record with. So I got to take a little break here and get these all updated, and get this thing ready to go. And then we'll circle back when it's all buttoned up and ready to run. So day 2 of the Bronco build part 9, we've run into some snags. So remember earlier in the video when I said that things were going too good to be true? Well, that turned out to be the case because we had some issues with the Furitek avatar. It was dropping in and out of connection last night when I got this thing fired up initially. It was dropping connection intermittently and then it would kind of spontaneously reconnect. And then this morning when I tried to reboot everything and get it up and running, it wouldn't bind at all. So I could not get the transmitter to bind to the micro RX that came with this thing. And then I know I had 2 more other little receivers. I tried those 2 and it wouldn't bind to any of those either. So this afternoon I took it to 2 hobby shops in the area here. None of us could diagnose it. So we're thinking that the avatar is bad. I'm not sure. I put in a support ticket with Furitek earlier today, and they just actually 10 minutes before I'm shooting this video, it's about 10:30 Friday night, they just responded to me. So hopefully we can work together a little bit this evening and get this thing sorted out. I'm not very optimistic. I think the avatar, the transmitter is bad. What's happening is that it just times out. I can boot up the system, get it into bind mode from the receiver side, the lights blinking rapidly, and then the avatar just times out. So it's a bummer. I just can't get it to connect, which is unfortunate. So what I've had to do is kind of revamp my setup here. I basically robbed the electronics off of the deadbolt and threw them in here so I can get this video up and out to you guys this weekend. My goal is to get it up in the next couple days, and I'm just really eager to try this thing out. So we won't conclude at the high note that I really wanted to in this episode, but at least we'll get the thing running and I can demo it and we'll try it out and kind of see how it goes. And then next episode, the final episode of the Bronco build, will finish really strong because I'll get everything sorted out next week. But in the meantime, let me show you what the current setup looks like. It's not pretty. I got to say that it does not look nearly as good as what it did prior with the micro RX on there. But let's take a look and see what we've got for a workaround in the meantime. Let's open it up and see what we've got here. So what I've had to do was just stick the V1 electronics that I've been using in the deadbolt and just kind of just plop it onto the chassis in the back here. I'm not securing anything because I'm hoping that I can get a new avatar set up or troubleshoot this one with Furitek in the next few days. So I'm not going to completely upend my system here. So I'm just kind of sticking things in here to make it work in the interim. So I've got the ESC just kind of sitting here. I did maintain the Lizard Pro stuck to this rock slider over here. That works out pretty well because what I'm doing with the battery is just sticking the battery on the opposite side. So you can see it just kind of, everything just kind of barely fits in here. It's packed pretty tight. So I've got this kind of, blocking in the ESC. The Lizard Pro is stuck over here, and then just kind of jam all the electronics in and close the thing up. So it's not pretty, it's not ideal, but it does work. So let me see if I can close it. So it does fit. Everything fits in here. Like when the body's closed, you don't even know. So everything is tucked in there. Pretty decent as far as that goes. It is functional. Why don't we fire it up? Let's see what we got here. So it's totally operational. I'm very excited to try this motor out. You know, it has not left the table, so I'm really anxious to try this thing out. So it is ready to go. So I just wanted to show you the setup that we're working with in the short term here. It's functional, not ideal, but hey, it'll work for today. We'll get this thing out on the course. We'll try it out, see what our first impressions are, and then who knows? Maybe I'll just be so happy with it, I'll forget about the setup and wait patiently for the avatar to get sorted out. Patience is not one of my strong points, so we'll see. But in any case, pumped to try this thing out. So let's button it up. We'll get it on the course and let's see what the thing can do. Okay, here we go. Furitek powered Bronco. Let's have some fun. Let's forget about the avatar issues and let's just run this thing and have a good time. I'm really excited to try this motor out and compare it to the micro Komodo that's in the Gladiator to see what the differences are. I feel like this is already, I think it's smoother on the bottom. This feels a lot like the Mofo SMP motor as far as the smoothness. Boy, man, the thing just grips. Let's try Hell's Gate here. Just try to creep it. It is definitely smoother on the bottom. Yeah, I can say that with certainty. And it has plenty of punch there. Yes. Man, this is a pretty versatile motor. I like this a lot. And it's just been just a couple minutes here. Let me try that again, being a little more aggressive with the throttle. Nice. Works great. This is a really smooth, easy to control, but very powerful motor. Let's try to stress this thing out with some creepy crawly technical lines here. This is a good one to kind of come out of the hot tub and climb up this really vertical, slick climb out of here. Nice. And if we kind of transition over here to Hell's Gate, this is another really technical, challenging line right here. Not a lot of my rigs can do this. The gripper tires are really benefiting from the brushless system because these tires just don't like the styrofoam course. But being able to slow it down to this degree, they're really able to grip a lot better. This is a gnarly side hill right here. This thing is hanging on for dear life. Is those slime balls, sidewall support kicking in right there. Oh my gosh. So close. Oh, we might have it. We might have it right there. Oh. So close. I cheated a little bit there. Took a little different approach. But that was good. I'm going to give you guys a little sneak peek of the new crawler course that's coming. We would test this thing out in a couple of these lines and also give you a preview of what's coming. This thing does really good, gotta say. This is the course's virgin run here. No rig has touched it in this form. Make sure all that's dry. It's like so fresh. That slow crawl is so good. The brushless just opens up so many more lines and opportunities to crawl things just because of the control. It's so awesome. All right, my friends, let's talk about the Furitek Komodo in this thing. Awesome, awesome motor. Very impressed with the motor. I really, really like it. It's kind of like a blend of the Micro Komodo and the SMP, which are my two other brushless systems. So it feels like you've got the slow speed controls and smoothness and torque off the bottom like you do with the SMP, but you've also got the rip-roaring mid and high-end power of the Komodo, like the Micro Komodo does. So it's kind of like right smack in the middle of both of those things, which is awesome. So I'm very happy with the motor. I did not try it on 3S power yet. I think we'll do that in the next video. But just in the time that I spent on it this evening, really, really like it. And those are my first impressions, that it's kind of like a blend of the two other brushless motors that I have. It really kind of takes the best of both of them and combines it into one. So I'm really happy with the Komodo. Very, very cool setup. I love the stellar transmission combo. The installation was a breeze. This was so slick, getting the motor and everything bolted up. Man, I'm so glad that I went with the pre-assembled combo. And that transmission is just a thing of beauty. That whole setup is just amazingly good looking. I mean, it's like, the anodized aluminum. I've said that when I did the Gladiator conversion, I said the same thing. The Furitek components are just gorgeous to look at. The SMP is also gorgeous to look at, but the hardware, the ancillary hardware, does not have the fit and finish like the Furitek does. And the red aluminum just works so well with the Bronco, just like with the Gladiator conversion. So I'm very, very happy with it from an aesthetic point of view. And when I get the electronics all sorted out with the Avatar, it's going to be nice and clean. It's going to look factory. And I'm so pumped to get that sorted out. But in the meantime, I'm still really happy with how it performed. So this video really turned into like just a freestyle crawling run because I was having so much fun running this thing on the course. It really is just awesome to have the brushless conversion. And I can't say enough about this motor. It's just awesome in this thing. So I guess we'll see in the next episode, we'll do the 3S power. We'll get the Avatar sorted out. And then I think there's a crawler competition happening not too far from me that's going to have an event for the 124s. So I think for the next episode, for the finale of this build series, we'll button everything up, clean everything up. We'll have the Avatar up and running. We'll get the electronics sorted out. We'll run it on 3S power. And then we'll take it to an event to see if we do a competition or if we just hang out and do a meet and greet. Either way, I think that'll be a great finale to this build series. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope you enjoyed this. This was a little different. It wasn't like an apples to apples comparison. Really turned out to be more of like a freestyle run. Just a fun crawl video after we did the initial install. So I'm hoping in the next few days I'll get this thing sorted out and we can finish this series with a bang. But let me know your thoughts down below, what you thought of the brushless system in this thing. I'm really happy with it. It's just the next evolution of the Bronco, and this thing just keeps getting better. It's just great. So minor setback in this episode, but we're going to keep forging ahead, and we're going to finish strong. So as always, please let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear from you all. And also, we just hit a huge milestone, 4,000 subscribers to the channel. I so appreciate all of you for joining me on this journey. I'm just an enthusiast. I'm just out here having fun and trying to bring you guys some educational content and some entertainment along the way. And the community has really embraced us in this channel. And I just want to thank you all. I really, really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and like the video. It really helps me out. I'm going to keep bringing you that good content. And I'm even more fired up now to keep it rolling. So thank you again. I really appreciate you all. Thanks for watching so much. Again, please like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and we'll see you in the next video.